Why do many African leaders, champions of their people's liberation, meet tragic ends? This is a question that echoes throughout the annals of post-colonial African history. The continent has witnessed a multitude of leaders, visionaries, and revolutionaries who have risen to the helm, driven by a fervent desire to liberate their people, only to be betrayed, often by those closest to them. These leaders, who once stood as beacons of hope, met untimely ends, their dreams of a free and prosperous Africa abruptly extinguished. Their stories are marked by themes of treachery and power struggles, all under the looming shadow of foreign interference. From Lumumba's short-lived tenure as prime minister to Sankara's radical reforms, from Nkrumah's visionary leadership to Bello's fight for independence, and from Kenyatta's nationalist struggle to Nyerere's socialist vision, the narratives are as diverse as they are tragic. Let's delve into the individual stories of these leaders and the betrayals they faced. Patrice Lumumba, the first prime minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, was a beacon of hope for his people. Born in 1925, Lumumba emerged as a charismatic leader who passionately advocated for Congo's independence from Belgium. His eloquent speeches and unyielding spirit ignited a sense of nationalism among the Congolese, propelling him to become the country's first prime minister in 1960. However, his tenure was short-lived. Barely months into his leadership, Lumumba was overthrown in a coup led by Colonel Joseph Mobutu, a move allegedly backed by the CIA and Belgian authorities. Lumumba's fate was sealed when he was captured, brutally tortured, and ultimately assassinated in 1961. His death sent shockwaves across the African continent and the world. Lumumba's demise was not just the fall of an individual, it was the crushing of Congo's hopes for a self-determined future. Lumumba's tragic end was a bitter blow to the Congolese and the African continent. Thomas Sankara, known as the Upright Man, was a revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso. He ascended to power in 1983, bringing with him a new wave of hope for the people of Burkina Faso. His rule was marked by radical reforms. He stood for the powerless, redistributed land to the peasants, championed women's rights, fought against corruption, and prioritized environmental protection. But his progressive stance wasn't welcomed by everyone. In a tragic twist of fate, Sankara's life was cut short by a coup in 1987, a coup orchestrated by none other than his former friend and colleague Blaise Compaoré. Compaoré, once a close ally, turned against Sankara, seizing power for himself and ruling Burkina Faso for 27 long years. Sankara's death, a profound betrayal, marked the end of a revolutionary era in Burkina Faso. Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana, was a visionary and a champion of Pan-Africanism. As the leader of the Gold Coast independence movement, he was instrumental in guiding Ghana to become the first sub-Saharan African nation to break free from colonial rule in 1957. Nkrumah was a firm believer in African unity and independence, a dream he tirelessly worked towards. However, his dreams were abruptly cut short. In 1966, while on a state visit to China, his government was overthrown in a military coup. The coup was orchestrated by Colonel E.K. Kotoka, Major A.A. Afrifa, Lieutenant General retired J.A. Nkrumah, and Police Inspector General J.W.K. Harley, who were allegedly supported by the CIA and the Belgian government. Nkrumah's fall from power was not just a loss for Ghana, but a significant setback for the entire African continent. Nkrumah's fall marked a significant setback for Ghana and African unity. Ahmadu Bello, the first premier of northern Nigeria, was a respected figure in Nigerian politics. Known as the Sardauna of Sokoto, Bello was a staunch advocate for the independence of Nigeria. His leadership of the Northern People's Congress was characterized by a deep commitment to the autonomy and development of the northern region within a united Nigeria. In the early 1960s, Bello's vision was abruptly cut short by a tragic turn of events. A group of mutinous soldiers led by Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu plotted to overthrow the federal government and establish a military regime. On the 15th of January 1966, the mutiny unfolded, and Bello was assassinated in his home. This brutal act marked a dark chapter in Nigeria's history. Bello's assassination shook Nigeria and highlighted the instability of the young nation. His legacy, however, remains an enduring testament to his commitment to Nigeria's independence and unity. Jomo Kenyatta, the first president of Kenya, was a nationalist and a strong advocate for African liberation. Kenyatta led the Kenya African National Union in the pursuit of Kenya's independence from Britain, which was finally achieved in 1963. However, His road to independence was not an easy one. In 1952, Kenyatta was arrested and imprisoned by the British colonial authorities, accused of involvement in the Mau Mau uprising, a violent anti-colonial movement. After 7 long years, he was released in 1959, yet his trials were far from over. In a twist of fate, Kenyatta found himself betrayed by his former allies who formed a rival political party, the Kenya People's Union. This party was led by none other than Oginga Odinga, Kenyatta's former vice president. Kenyatta's betrayals underscored the challenges of navigating post-independence politics in Africa. Julius Nyerere, the first president of Tanzania, was a socialist visionary and a stalwart of African liberation. In the wake of Tanzania's independence from Britain in 1961, Nyerere emerged as a beacon of hope. His political philosophy, ujamaa, embodied African socialism, advocating for communal ownership and cooperation. Nyerere's vision extended beyond Tanzania's borders, supporting liberation movements in Mozambique, Angola, and Zimbabwe. But the road to ujamaa was fraught with betrayal. Oscar Kambona, Nyerere's former foreign minister, led a coup attempt against him in 1964. Abdul Rahman Babu, Nyerere's former economic advisor, was implicated in a failed assassination attempt just 5 years later. Navigating these betrayals, Nyerere's reign was a testament to the paradoxes of post-colonial power dynamics. His challenges underscored the intricate dance between idealism and pragmatism, between vision and execution. Nyerere's betrayals revealed the complexities of implementing socialist ideals in a post-colonial context. These stories of betrayal and tragedy are not unique to these 6 leaders. They echo across the rich tapestry of African politics. Betrayal, often from those closest, has been a recurring theme, inflicting deep wounds on the fabric of African nations. Lumumba, Sankara, Nkrumah, Bello, Kenyatta, and Nyerere all were betrayed by confidants, allies, friends, and even those they considered protégés. These betrayals, however, were not just personal. They were betrayals of the dreams and aspirations of millions who looked up to these leaders for emancipation and progress. They were betrayals of the promise of independence, of the hope for a better future. The tragic consequences of these betrayals often set these nations back, disrupting their journey towards prosperity and stability. The tragic fate of these leaders serves as a reminder of the turbulent path many African nations have walked towards independence and sovereignty.